Okay, so welcome to today's class. In today's class, we are going to discuss what are the benefits and the limitations of cloud computing. And before moving further, we also see the purpose of using cloud computing. So in the last class, we have seen some of the basics of cloud computing, and I hope all those basics are pretty much clear to all of you, right? So, if you talk about the purpose of cloud computing, then as we know that it enables companies and applications which are system infrastructure dependent. So it is going to be infrastructure less. So that has been the one of the main purpose of cloud computing. So the moment we talk about the cloud computing or having cloud computing technologies with any company, that means they are talking about an infrastructure less thing. Okay, so more oftenly they will be setting up all their services, all their operations on a infrastructure less system. Fine. Apart from that, the main purpose is also has been the pay as used and on demand. So whenever something is required, we must do, or any cloud computing consumer must be able to get that. Apart from that, whatever resources or things that particular client is using, only they need to pay that much only, right? So these are some of the purposes. And apart from that, if you talk about the client point of view, then what they can do, they can put their data on the platform instead of their own desktop PCs and all on their own servers. So if client has acquired any cloud computing platform from any cloud provider, that means now they can put their data, they can shift their operations on the cloud platforms rather than putting them on their own desktop PCs or on their own servers. So next time, if somebody has borrowed or somebody has taken any cloud services, in that case, they will be moving all their operations to the cloud infrastructure, right? And after having the cloud infrastructure, they can also put their applications on the cloud and use the servers within the cloud to do the processing and data manipulations, etc. So again, it may possible that after putting the data, one might be interested to perform some computation on the cloud, right? Because we are assuming that a client is moving to the cloud solution when a client is running out of the resources or a client is not having ample amount of resources, right? So there will be a number of reasons. For example, uh, a reason may be that client do not have that much of money into their hand, so that is why they are moving or they are shifting towards the cloud solutions. So for any cloud computing uh, provider can also offer the computational power as well. So if some cloud providers are providing some computational power, so a client can request to any cloud provider that they need to run this application, they need to process this much of data. So all those sort of requests can also be handled by the cloud provider. So the thing is, a client can put the data, a client can also process the data at the cloud side. Okay. Then cloud sourcing, why it is becoming a big deal? Because uh, using high scale and low cost provider. So high scales means we can have number of services available at the cloud side, right? So there can be number of things, and if you think about having all those number of things in a local system, in a local IT infrastructure, then that thing that not be that much feasible. Fine. And after that, low cost provider. So if we try to build all those infrastructure from the scratch at the client side, then that are going to incur a lot of cost. So if we move towards the cloud solutions, then they will be cost effective. So this is why we are saying that using high scale and low cost providers. Apart from that, all those things can be accessed anytime at any place, and all those things can be done with the help of a web browser. Apart from that, rapid scalability, incremental cost, and load sharing. Rapid scalability means the moment the demand rises from the client side, the cloud infrastructure can be upgraded or can be scaled up, and uh, it is up to the usage of the client only. So if a client is using, let's say, a number of resources, so only he will be charged for that a number of resources. And if in case a client has started using a plus b number of resources, only in that case the cost to the client uh, will be put up more. And load sharing. So if the infrastructure which are there at the cloud side, and let us say number of clients are interested to utilize that cloud infrastructure, so in that case some load sharing concept will also come into picture, where number of clients will be able to use the same set of resources. So how the load is going to be managed at the cloud side, that is also is one of the important thing. And apart from that, can forget need to focus on local IT infrastructure. So if we, the moment we talk about cloud sourcing, then we do not need to worry at all about the local IT infrastructure. Okay. So we can think about managing any local labs in our college only. So the moment we think about managing all those labs, then each and every day we have to update number of applications, number of softwares, right? Then we also need to take care of the hardware, whether all the hardware is functioning properly or not. And the moment we talk about cloud sourcing, so we do not need to worry about all those management things regarding the local IT infrastructure, right? So all those things will be taken care by the cloud provider only. And if you, the moment you take care of all those things, that means you're talking about the cloud sourcing. Then these are the list of the concerns which will be there in cloud sourcing. First of all, what is going to be the performance and how much reliable that is going to be, what will be the service level agreements. So these are the some of the important concerns of cloud sourcing. So if you are opting for any cloud infrastructure, then you have to ensure that you are getting the indented performance from the cloud providers, right? For example, if you are just trying to download your data from any cloud provider, then you want that you should get maximum speed for the download, right? So performance is going to be top priority from the client's point of view. Apart from that, reliability has to be there. So all the data has to be available all the time from any place, from any devices. So it has to be reliable, right? Then service level agreements, what are going to be the terms and conditions in order to use those cloud computing resources in the cloud. So what are the agreements which are going to be there? So all those things one has to take care of. Apart from that, control of data and service parameters. So the moment the client has uploaded their data in the cloud side, so how much control a client is going to have, and how much secure that data is going to be there in the cloud, right? So apart from that, what are the service parameters which are going to be there, which are how they are going to be controlled. So one has to take care of those things as well. Then the applications which you opted for in the cloud side, the number of features which you are going to get, and the variety of choices which you are going to get. So all those things are also going to be the concerns for the client side. Let us say one has opted for MATLAB software in the cloud. So how many features of MATLAB you are going to get, and how many choices you are getting out of it. So those things will also come into picture. Okay, because being a cloud application, a user might not get all the features which we generally get in a typical desktop installation. So some limitations will be there. So it may be possible that some of the features may have been skipped in the cloud version, and some of the users were interested in those escaped features only. So there it will create a problem, right? Then let us say some clients were interested in some infrastructure, and at present all those intended infrastructure was not available at one cloud provider. So one cloud provider has contacted the other cloud provider. So in that case, how the interaction between the inter cloud providers is going to take place, that is also one of the concern. Apart from that, there has not been any standard APIs. Some cloud providers use SOAP and some use REST and some mix of them. So it is still a concern because no standard API is being used to create the cloud infrastructure. Then privacy, security, compliance, trust. So these have been the obvious concern for any client. Okay, so how private my data is going to be, how secure my data is going to be. Okay, what are the compliances which are going to be there, how much I can trust to the cloud. So these are the obvious things which are always going to be there with the cloud. Then these are the some of the commercial cloud offerings. So GoGrid is also there, Amazon EC2 is also there, and 3Tera. This is also one of the very famous software. So these are some of the commercial cloud offerings which one can go around. Then these are the cloud taxonomy. So if we talk about the infrastructure as a service, then these are the things which one can get or one can explore. If we talk about platform as a service, then these are the number of solutions or the things which one can explore. If we talk about the software as a service, then these are the varieties and these are the options which one can explore. And these are the cloud softwares. Okay. For example, if we talk about the infrastructure services, then the infrastructure can be provided into three varieties: storage, compute, and service management. And these are some of the examples where one can go and can rent for some data storage. For example, Amazon S3 provides some storage solution in case some client wants to store their data into some cloud platforms, then they can have these many number of options. So the moment one has opted for Amazon S3, then they can put their data over there. And similarly, if somebody is interested to have some computational activities in the cloud, then these are the uh, number of providers which are there. For example, Amazon EC2 is the very famous one. Okay, AppNexus, TerraMark, GridLayer. These are some of them. And similarly, for service management, these are the options. Okay, for cloud software, these are the options. And if you talk about data, then these are the options. If you talk about compute, and in case of platform services, in case of software services, again, if you talk about software services, and then these are the varieties in which a software service can be offered. For example, it can be offered as a billing services, it can be offered as a financial services, legal services. One of the most famous is CRM, customer relationship manager management. Okay, then backup and recovery. So what I'm trying to say is these are the options available, and this cloud taxonomy has tried to cover most of them. Okay, so you can explore some of them. Then the cloud storage. Yeah. So there has been one interesting move nowadays that certain companies have got ample amount of storage. and now they are using only few volume of their storage. So what they are thinking that still they have got ample amount of storage which are not being used. So what they are thinking about hiring it out to the others. So that way they can also make some money. So that has also been one of the interesting development nowadays, where the company with the over resources, they are trying to, or they are thinking of renting out those resources to the others. And I guess I have already given some assignment on Amazon EC3 and Amazon S3, so I'll just skip. But for a time being, if we talk about how the storage services will function or will be materialized in general, for example, if we talk about the storage services at the cloud side, then if they charge this much of amount, let's say $0.2 per GB of data transfer and $0.15 per GB month for storage. Here we are talking about the data transfer, and here we are talking about the storage. Okay, and if we have done 1 terabytes of storage and 40,000 downloads in 24 hours, then it is going to cost a company around $200 only. Okay, and if you think about storing all those things or building the infrastructure, then it is going to cost a lot than that. Okay, so it is like that, just pay for what you use. It is not like that you are just storing this much and you are paying for 100 terabytes. So it is the mid-rise service only. So I'll just skip this part since this has been given as an assignment. Okay, so in this Elastic Compute, generally one can create the instance as per their need, and they can perform certain computations in those instances. And in order to have all those things, some companies have especially designed their processors. And yeah, opportunities and challenges of cloud computing. So the use of cloud provides a number of opportunities. So let us discuss all of them one by one. So first of all, it enables services to be used without any understanding of their infrastructure, right? So if you talk about any cloud infrastructure, so a client or a user do not need to understand how that infrastructure is going to be managed, right? And how that infrastructure is providing you the service. The user or a client will only be interested in getting the services. Okay, so how at the core level infrastructure is going to manage, they do not need to concern about that. So this is for the first thing. Then the second thing, cloud computing works using economies of scale. That means it potentially lowers the outlay expenses for startup companies, as they would no longer need to buy their own software or servers. So being a startup, any new company will face a financial crunch, right? So at that point of time, they want to spend their money as possible, right? So in the beginning, what they can think of, hiring some of the IT infrastructure from any cloud provider. So let's say if they buy all that infrastructure, then it is going to cost them, let's say 50 lakhs of rupees or 10 lakhs of rupees for let us say 4 to 5 years. And after that, we assume that all that infrastructure is generally outdated. Okay, so that has been a life cycle for any typical desktops or all, that after 5 years they are assumed to be outdated. So for 5 years, let us say they are putting, if they are putting 10 lakhs of rupees, and if they are opting for cloud solutions, then for all that infrastructure, let us say they are paying only 10,000 of rupee per month. So in total, they will be in profit, right? Because for 10,000 rupees, in, let's say in 1 year, they are the cloud provider is charging them approximately 1 lakh of rupee. So in 5 years, they will be charged around at only 5 lakhs rupees. So it will give them a benefit of 5 lakhs in total, because initially they were putting 10 lakhs in order to buy all that required infrastructure. And at the same time, what they are getting in return, they are getting the recent up-to-date hardware or the infrastructure. And at the same time, they do not need to worry about their management thing. So all the infrastructure is going to be managed by the cloud provider only, right? So that can be the benefit for any startup. So the moral of the story is that this cloud computing platform, or cloud sourcing, has been one of the popular solution among the new companies or the new startups. Okay. Then cost would be by on-demand pricing, right? So at that time, whatever is the pricing, only that pricing will be there for the client. Then vendors and service providers claims cost by establishing an ongoing revenue stream. So at that time, whatever is the mechanism which has been there, only that scheme will be used to uh, bill the customer, right? So it may be possible that at current scenario, if some cloud providers are charging, let us say, 10,000 of rupee for 1 TB of storage, and after 1 year they are charging 10,000 rupee for 10 TB of storage, right? So whatever is the current demand or whatever is the current revenue stream, only as per their stream the customer will be charged. So it is up to their agreement, okay, upon which they have agreed upon. So in general, it does change time by time. Apart from that, data and services are stored remotely but accessible from anywhere. So again, the typical thing with the cloud, that all these things can be stored remotely and can be accessed uh, remotely from anywhere. Now, at the same time, there has been certain number of backlashes against the cloud computing. For example, use of cloud computing means dependence on others, and that could possibly limit flexibility and innovation. So this is pretty much true. For example, if we're just trying to store our data into some companies, let's say Google and IBM, then they can have their monopolies on the market. So they can charge as per their wish, right? So there has to be a good competition, a good number of companies, so that there cannot be any monopoly in the market. Apart from that, uh, if all the data has been given to a single company, or all the data has been stored in a single company, then in future it may create a problem. Okay, there may be some issues. For example, let us say if these companies are there in US, and if we go against the US, then USA may use these companies in order to get our data, right? So that is very famous quotation, that everything is fair in love and war, right? So in war sort of situations, all those things can turn the other way. So that is why the our Aadhaar data, the storing of Aadhaar data has created a lot of buzz in our country. So the Indian government has tried that all the data is going to be stored in Indian servers only. Okay. Apart from that, security could prove to be a big issue. So it is still unclear how safe outsourced data is, and when using these services, ownership of data is not always clear. So there have been instances, there have been cases where the data stored by the customer or the client has been compromised at the cloud provider. So if the instances like that has been reported, then always it is going to be a concern. So you might have heard about that some of the credit card information have been hacked or have been exploited, right? or have been just leaked from some of the cloud providers. So the moment if someone heard that sort of things, then always this is going to be a concern for the client or a user, right? Then there are also issues relating to policy and access. So if your data is stored abroad, whose policy do you adhere to, right? So if, let us say, we have stored our data in a server of USA, then which policies are going to govern our data, the Indian policies or the USA policies? So these are the some of the issues which are always going to be there. Then what happens if the remote server goes down? So how we are going to get our data, right? So we have to think about that, and it has been happened quite a lot of time. So recently you might have heard that Gmail server has just goes down. So some of the companies or the organizations have bought some G Suites. So always they are going to worry about it since the Gmail server has gone down. Then how will you then access file? Okay. So if in case the servers are server has goes down, then how we are going to access file? It may possible that at that time you are in the strong need of accessing those files. So always those things are going to be there in client's mind. Then there have been cases of users being logged out of accounts and losing access to data. So several times the account informations of the users have been held out, and they have been logged out of their accounts, and they have lose their data. So those things are always going to be the concern for client's point of view. Now, enough concerns have been discussed, and if you talk about the advantages of cloud computing, then the one of the most or the bigger advantage of using cloud computing is the lower computer cost. So you do not need a high-powered and high-priced computer to run a cloud computing's web-based applications. So if you are going or if you are opting for cloud computing solutions, then it is going to reduce the computer cost by a lot margin. So and that can be a significant one. So if since the applications run in the cloud, not on the desktop PCs, your desktop PC doesn't need to carry processing power or hard disk space demanded by the traditional desktop software. So all the things, all the processing, all the storage, all those things are going to be there in the cloud side, right? So user do not need to buy them specifically. Okay, nowadays we can think, okay, let us go and buy some i7 processor, let us go some buy SSD, let us say some buy some SSD of high storage. So that are going to cost a customer a lot, right? Rather one can just go buy and buy a simple PC or laptop, let us say a cost which costs around 15,000, 20,000, and in future in their final project they might need 10 TB of storage, right? And they might need a let us say 150 number of cores for some execution. So all that infrastructure is not going to be there in their laptop, right? No matter how costly they buy. So in general, I'm talking about in general case, because if your application is demanding that much of infrastructure, then it is better just to move to a cloud solutions rather than buying a hardware which will encompass all your demand. Okay, because you might be in the need of that much infrastructure for your first semester only. Let us say if you are creating some applications, if you are just writing or doing some research work in your MTech final semester, then you will be in the need of having that infrastructure for that 6 months only, right? And for that 6 months, if you are putting, let us say, 10 lakhs of rupees in buying all that infrastructure, then it is going to be not a cost-effective solution. Rather, what one can do, one can move to the cloud solutions, and in order to have all that infrastructure only they need to pay, let us say, 10,000 of rupee. So that is a very clever solution, right? A very good one. So this is how the computer cost is going to be less when a client or user is thinking about cloud computing technologies. Then, of course, when we are going for the web-based applications, then your PC is going to be less expensive because we will not be in the need of putting a lot of processing power, a lot of storage, all those things. So only a system which very basic infrastructure is going to work. So that is going to cost less to the customer. Then in fact your PC in this scenario doesn't even need a CD or DVD drive, or no software programs have to be loaded, and no document files need to be saved. So of course all these things will be automatically eliminated from a user's system, right? So in that case, a user might not need to purchase a licensed version of, let us say, operating system, right? They can just use free of cost Ubuntu or any Linux solution. Then they do not need to buy MS Office. They do not need to buy any costly software, let's say MATLAB and other things. So they can just think of having all this software from the cloud side. So all those things is going to save a money for the client. Then improved performance. So with few large programs or in your computer's memory, you will see the better performance from your PC. So since all the computation is now then be going to be offloaded to the cloud, so a user will observe some improvement in the performance. Then computers and cloud computing system boot and run faster because they have fewer programs and processes loaded into memory. So this thing will always be there, right? Because in cloud computing system, the infrastructure which have been placed, they are going to be there for a dedicated applications, dedicated programs. So that means there will be some less things in their memory, and hence they will boot fast, they will run faster. Reduced software cost. So instead of purchasing expensive software applications, you can get most of what you need for free, right? And of course, let us say if one is going for purchasing the MS Office, then MS Office is going to cost them a lot if we compare them with the Google Docs suite. So nowadays one can use Google Doc, Google Spreadsheet, Google Excel, and nowadays they have got a number of features, right? So if in case someone has not got the MS Office installed in the system, then they can pretty much do their job, their routine job with this Google Docs suite. So this is what we are trying to say, that it is also going to reduce the software cost. So all these are nothing but the cloud solutions only. Okay, so these have been the cloud solutions to the general public for free as of now. Then better than paying for similar commercial software, which alone may be justification for switching to cloud applications. So again, it can be the similar software or it can be the same software. So if the same software is available at the cloud side with a better low cost, for example, one is interested in using some MATLAB. I'm using the example of MATLAB again because that is one of the software which has been extensively used in the number of fields to carry out number of experiments or the research. So this has been one of the popular software among the research fraternity. So if one is interested to buy the MATLAB license, then let us say it is costing around 2 lakhs for 1 year, right? So this is quite on high side. And if we are opting for a cloud solution, then let us say it is costing around only 1000 rupees. So obviously this is pretty much cost effective, right? So this is how the things in the cloud computing technology works. So one can always opt for the software, or can think about the software which are there in the cloud, which can be the same software or which can be the similar commercial software, okay, which a user can alternatively use. Then instant software updates. This is also one of the major advantage with the cloud computing, because all these softwares are going to be managed by the cloud provider only. So whatever updates are going to be there with any software, all those updates are going to be installed by the cloud provider only. So a user or a client do not need to worry about that. Then whenever we access all those software with web-based application, always we are going to get the latest version. So a user do not need to worry about all those things. And at the same time, a user is going to pay the same amount for which he or she has agreed earlier. Okay, it is not like that the program has been upgraded, then they need to pay for the upgraded version. So whatever is the latest update, they will pay for the previous one only. Okay, so this has been the trend in the cloud sourcing. Then improved document format compatibility. You might have noticed that in your system there will be number of file formats, and in order to open those file formats, you need to install number of softwares, right? So in cloud, you are going to get almost all the softwares. Okay, so whatever file format is there, almost you will get, or you will find some softwares in the cloud to open them, to work upon them. So this thing is also is one of the feature for cloud computing. So it is going to provide you the improved document format compatibility. Then unlimited storage capacity. If we think about storing data in our own local system, then it is going to have some limitation, because if I assume my laptop, then it is going to store at least at max 1 TB of data. If I have got some external hard drives, then I can think of storing, let us say, 5 TB of data or 10 TB of data, not more than that, including my lab system, on all the options, right? But what if I'm in the need of, let us say, 1 petabyte of data? Then of course I will not be having a solution for that demand, right? So if you think about cloud solutions, then you can have that much amount of data as well, right? So it is going to solve our purpose. Then increased data reliability. So if you talk about our typical desktop system, so all the data is going to be lost the moment the hard drive on our personal system get crashed. So we are going to lose all our valuable data, right? But the same thing is not going to be there typically in cloud computing solution, because a number of copies are going to be placed in the cloud, and it is the job of cloud provider to ensure that your data remains intact even after any major damage or crashes in the cloud side. Okay, and how they are going to do it, that is their problem. Okay, so they may be mirror the data, they may create a copies of data, and they may put that copies of data into number of places, into number of servers. One server may be in some country, one server, or the another server maybe some other country. So it is their job how they are going to manage, or how they are securing our data, okay, from all the failures or all the crashes. And yeah, then universal document access. That means in cloud computing it is not a problem, because the document which have been uploaded in the cloud, that document can be accessed from anywhere. Okay, And on the contrary, if we have got a document in a local system, in a local PC, then we can say that that document is available only from our PC only. So that has been one of the added advantage. So let us say I always store my data, some most important files into the cloud solution. So the moment I travel to other countries, and I might be in the need of accessing those documents. So I usually do not carry my laptop and all. So I just I just get into any cafe or any system which are freely available. Then I get those documents and then make use of them. So the moment I uploaded all those documents into any cloud solution, then it provides me the universal access. That means from any device, from any place, from anytime, at any time, I can access that data or that file. So with the help of cloud computing, I'm getting that benefit. Okay. Then latest version availability. So it might be possible that the same document have been updated many times. So the moment it has been updated within the cloud, you are always going to get the latest version availability. And at the same time, if you want to have a look into the older version, then also you can have a look into it. So if some of you are using the Box Cloud, then you can observe that number of uh, versions are always available. So if you have updated your document number of times, then you can find all the versions over there. And one beautiful features with the box have been there, that the moment you have permanently deleted some of the files, then still you can access those files. In a typical computer, if you delete some file, then if you have deleted permanently, then you will not have any options to recover it back. For that, then might later on you can use some recovery softwares and all. Ultimately, on that sector, something has not been rewritten. Okay, and if something has been written on that sector, then it is very difficult to get back that data. But in the cloud, if something has been deleted, then it is going to be there for some amount of time. So one can always go there and can recover that deleted file. So there are number of benefits which are going to be there in the cloud. So one is always going to have the latest version of the document. Then easier group collaboration. So this is also one of the good feature of cloud computing. So with the help of cloud computing, sharing has been very much possible, very much as very has become very popular, because we are doing it on a regular basis. For example, the moment I give you some assignments, then I just share it. Then all of you can come to that file and you can store your data, right? You can store your assignments, you can upload your assignment, you can upload your video. So the collaboration has become very easier with the cloud solution. So multiple users or the client can collaborate and can work upon documents and projects, right? Then device independence. So it doesn't depend upon the what device a client or a user is using in order to get their data or services or the application at the cloud. Almost with all the number of devices which have got the basic infrastructure, they can access their data from the cloud. Okay. Then the disadvantages of cloud computing. There has been some disadvantages as well with cloud computing. So the moment we talk about cloud computing, that means we always have to have a good constant internet connection. So if one do not have a good internet connection, then it is impossible to connect to the cloud. Okay, so if the internet connection is not there, then we cannot connect to the cloud facilities. So that has been a very big concern with cloud computing. One has to have a good internet connection. Only then a user can get all those facilities. Then does does not work well with the low speed connections. So even after having an internet connection, if that internet connection is not good in speed, then whatever data or the facilities or the applications we are going to opt from the cloud provider, we do not, we might not have that much good experience, which usually we have with a good internet connection. So web-based applications typically require a lot of bandwidth to download, okay, as do large documents. So we must ensure that after having the internet connection, that internet connection has to have a good speed, okay. Only then it will reflect the goods of cloud computing. Features might be limited, that has been discussed. So the moment we have thought about, or we have think about some cloud solutions for, let us say, if you just think about having some softwares at the cloud, then all those softwares may not be full featured. Okay, some of the feature may be missing. So that can also be a limitation or the disadvantage. Then it can be slow. So even with the fast internet connection, there can be some latency in between the network. Okay, so that is also a case. And apart from that, everything about the program from the interface to the current document has to be sent back and forth from the computer. So all your programs or the interaction can suffer from the latency. And of course, there can be something wrong in the cloud server, and if that happens, then one can experience some delay in accessing their document, their data, or their services. Okay, so this is also one of the disadvantage, and typically one has experienced this sort of things as well. Okay, then the biggest disadvantage is the stored data might not be secure. So with cloud computing, all your data is stored on the cloud. So the question is always going to be there, how secure that data is going to be in the cloud. Okay, so this is also one of the major challenge. Then can unauthorized user gain access to your confidential data? So the moment one has given the access or one has acquired some access to any cloud computing solutions, then any cloud provider will be providing some username and password, right? And the moment any user want to access to their data or their services, then they will authenticate themselves by presenting their user ID and password. So the moment if that user ID and password hacked by somebody else, then it may possible that a authenticated user or the legitimate user lose access to all their data, right? So a hacker may change the user ID and password, then the authentic user may lose the access to all your confidential data, right? So this has been one of the most one of the biggest disadvantage with the cloud computing. Then the stored data can be lost. So theoretically, data stored in the cloud is safe, replicated across multiple machines. But what if all the servers get failed at the same time? It may happen, right? However, the chances are very less, very less, but it may happen. So, so in case if that happens, then we are going to lose our data, right? High performance computing system, not clear that you can run multiple compute intensive high performance computing application that use MPI and Open MPI. So if you talk about this type of system which make use of this technology, okay, message passing interface or Open MPI, then how efficient a cloud computing infrastructure can be. Okay, so up to a certain limit, it has been tested in a good capacity, but they cannot be treated like a supercomputer, okay, where any kind of job can be given to them. Then scheduling is important with this type of application, where number of applications which are in the need of having high performance systems, right? Or let us say high number of cores, or the infrastructure is there and number of clients are there, number of users are there, then how it is going to schedule their demands or the demands of multiple clients or the user. So that has to be also taken care. Then general concerns that each and every cloud computing provider do use different protocols, different APIs. Then how a user is going to deal with. Okay, for example, a user may be familiar with the SQL, and in the background, Amazon is not using SQL in order to manage the database. So how that compatibility is going to take place? So all these things are always going to be a concern for our typical user. Then the future, since the cloud computing has been something like client server architecture. Okay, so nowadays people have also moved to the grid computing solutions, where a centralized approach have been used, and where a uh, large scientific computing can also be taking place. So it depends upon the type of application or the type of use a user have. Okay. Apart from that, if we talk about a typical cloud computing architecture, then something like this have been done by a number of companies in the earlier. Okay, but at that time they have not given it a name of cloud computing. So a number of companies have come together, they have created the infrastructure, and they are making use of that infrastructure in a shared basis. Then if it has become a trend and each and every user is opting for cloud computing, then it may cause number of problems to a typical user as well. And apart from that, many new open source systems appearing that you can install and run on your local cluster. So cluster computing nowadays is also becoming very popular. So in that case, number of systems or number of companies are buying number of systems to form a cluster, and almost most of their tasks is being taken care by that local cluster only. So that way they are just avoiding that concern of security, that concern of data loss. Okay, so that is also one of the trend which is becoming which is expected to become popular in coming future. So I hope these things are clear to all of you. The prospects of cloud computing, we have discussed the challenges, we have discussed the advantages, we have discussed the disadvantages of cloud computing. Is there any doubt, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So another topic which we are going to start in the next class is virtualization. So this is very, very important topic. So I discuss it in the next class.